So you may have seen a lot of YouTube videos going over the Capital One Duo. A lot of people saying it's the most simplest card setup to actually hold and also the most affordable setup to actually hold as well. Well, I'm here to tell you that is 100% true. If you're new to this channel, my name's Andy. I'm a senior programmer analyst that loves to talk about personal finances. Here in this channel, that's about credit cards, budgeting, and financial tools that can possibly help you guys out. But enough of that, let's go ahead and get started with the video. So I do want to break this video down in 3 sections, and that's going to be going over each specific card, that being the Capital One Savor and the Capital One Venture X. We're going to be going over the annual fees, the sign-on bonuses, and their spending multipliers. Second, I do want to go over how these cards actually work together and how it's transferred out to their transfer partners. Third, I want to go over my personal experience of using these specific 2 cards in the past 2 months, which, spoiler alert, I would say is the most easiest setup to use because you're not having to think about which cards to use in specific categories and having to keep up with each quarter. Let's go ahead and get started with the Capital One Savor. So as the time of recording this video, the limited time offer is going to be up to $300. So you do get a sign-on bonus when you spend a minimum of $500 within the first 3 months, which will give you the $200 sign-on bonus. Also, you will get $100 in credit to use towards flights, stays, and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. You're also going to be earning 3% cash back on grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services. Anything that you spend outside those categories is going to be 1% cash back. Now, this card shines because you're actually going to be getting this card with a 0 annual fee. And to me personally, this is probably the best card out there in the market to be coming in at a $0 annual fee. Now, something that's overlooked is that there is no foreign transaction fees on this card. Now, there are a few out there that do have this benefit, but for Capital One to actually have all those spending categories and the no foreign transaction fee is basically golden in my book. Now, you may have noticed that I was stating that the Capital One Savor is a cash back card, but don't let that fool you because it is still possible to transfer over to the Venture X, which I'll be going over in this second section. Now, jumping over to the Venture X, you are going to be getting 75,000 miles as a sign-on bonus when you spend $4,000 within the first 3 months. You also get 10,000 miles every year starting on your first anniversary. They'll also give you a $300 annual credit every year. You also get $120 credit for global entry and TSA pre-check. So the Venture X is going to be coming in with an annual fee, which is going to be $395. But do remember all the benefits that you're getting with this card. So you are going to get a $300 travel credit every year. So you do $395 minus $300, you're left with $95. And every anniversary, you're getting 10,000 miles. So if you look at that in money terms, it's actually $100. So you minus 100 from 95, you're actually being left with negative $5, which states that they're giving you $5 to actually hold the card. So if you're using all the credits, you're actually winning in this case if you plan on using it. But the downside is you are going to be required to use that travel credit with the $300 within the Capital One Travel. Now, there are some good deals in there. I've looked at it a couple times. You actually can book a couple hotels for 2 to 3 days with the $300 travel credit. But sometimes, or if not more than that, you are going to be required to spend a little bit of money. But again, it is $300 that you're actually going to be using. If you plan on traveling a lot throughout the year, I think this is a great card to hold. Now, as for the spending multipliers, this is considered to be the cash out card and your travel card. So for example, you're going to be getting 2x on miles on all purchases. You're going to get 5x miles on flights, vacation, rental books through Capital One Travel, and 10x miles on hotels, rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. So if it's not falling under the categories of the Capital One Savor, then this is where this card picks up the rest. Also, when you're holding the Capital One Venture X, you're going to be given access to Capital One lounges. So those Capital One lounges are located in New York City, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C., Denver, and Dallas. So if you're located in those areas, I mean, this card would be a no-brainer as well because you'll be given Capital One lounges where they give you like food, drinks, and things along those natures, and only people who have this card are going to be given access to enter these facilities. Also, this card is going to be given Hertz presidential status. So you're going to be able to skip the rental counter and enjoy the widest selections of cars with a complimentary upgrade. Also, since this card is a Visa Infinite, you're also going to be getting auto rental collision coverage. You could be able to get reimbursed for damage or theft when you pay for a rental car with the Venture X card. So how do these cards actually work together? So as I stated earlier, going over the Capital One Savor, that don't let that fool you because if it's being in a cashback rewards, you're still able to transfer to the Venture X. So just to do like make it a little bit simpler for you guys, if you do, let's say, if you have $15 in cashback rewards, all you gotta do is multiply it times 100. Once you multiply it times 100, it's technically gonna be 1,500. So that's gonna be in miles or points, and that's what's gonna be transferred into the Venture X. But do keep in mind that once you do this transfer, you're not able to transfer those points back to the Capital One Savor. So do keep in mind that if you do this, just make sure you know what you're transferring over to the Venture X, because once it's locked in, it is locked in. And so let's say if you want to do a cashback redemption value with Adventure X, you're only going to get half the value of what you're going to be getting with the Capital One Savor. So with the Capital One Savor, it is 1-to-1. And with Adventure X, it's 1 to 0.5. So you're getting half the value of your points if you were to redeem cash back with Adventure X. So this is kind of like common sense to me. If you're going to be transferring over to the Adventure X, you know for a fact that you're going to be transferring to a transfer partner or booking a flight with Adventure X, which is the whole reason of the Capital One Duo setup, is for people who want to travel a lot more. Now, to show you an example of how this looks like on the website, if you were to actually try to transfer your points over, this is what it's going to look. For me, this is what I owe on my cards, and this is what my points are in currently. So do keep in mind that I was only able to redeem the points through a computer. I tried to figure out if you can redeem through the actual mobile app. There's actually no option. So to order for you to transfer from the Savor to the Adventure X, you are going to be having to use a desktop. Unless you guys know of a way that I'm missing on the mobile, please put it in the comments below if you figure out a way to do that. So let's say you want to actually transfer your Savor points, which is actually not points, but cash back, is going to be 1907 what I have in cash back. And this is what I have currently on my Adventure X. So to actually remove everything over, you can go under View Rewards. When you go into View Rewards, we're going to go to Savor, and we're going to hit View Account. And so this is what the option is going to look like for you. All you got to do is scroll down, and it will say here, Combine Points. So you do Combine Points, and you will switch the account to, or not switch, but select to Adventure X, hit Next, and you can see what the points you're going to be using, and it equates to 1907. So that's if you want to combine your points currently. I'm still going to be holding it off. I'm not going to be doing this step, but this is just to show you how easy it is to combine your points when you have the Capital One Duo. Again, I have never figured it out within the app, so please let me know if you guys know an option to do with the app, because it will be a lot more easier for you to be able to do it on the mobile. So for the ones who are new to the credit card space, I'm wondering why would I want to transfer my Capital One Savor points into my Adventure X card, is because the Adventure X is the card that actually opens up transfer partners. So those are going to be airlines and also hotels. So the reason why it's important to understand your travel partners is because, let's say if you book a travel through the Capital One travel portal, you are going to still be getting your 1-to-1 ratio, right? It sounds good because you're going to be using your day-to-day spends that you're gaining those points, and to you it seems very cheap to like, oh, it's free points, so I can book anything within the Capital One travel. But if you transfer into the Capital One travel partners of those airlines that they're provided, then you're actually getting 3 to 2 times more the value of your points. So you can actually travel to a further vacation, and sometimes if you know how to work the system to use your travel alliances, then you actually get more points for your value. So let me break that down for you, because I know that kind of went over that pretty quickly. So for example, let's say I want to fly United domestically. So if you transfer into the Air Canada and you actually can book United through them because they are partnered together, you can actually book a flight that's worth only 10,000 points to any other location that's located within the United States. So that is the workaround. So instead of spending a lot more points, you are actually spending only 10,000 points rather than what a travel location would be if you were to do within the Chase Travel portal. Now, as for my personal experience of using these two cards for the past 2 months, I have to say it's quite easy, because if the way I think about it, anything that's food related is going to go on the Capital One Savor. All other purchases is going to the Adventure X. So that, to even think about even just doing that so easily, rather than have to think about, okay, what card am I going to be using today? What quarter is it? So I know exactly which cards to use. Yes, you are probably going to be getting more points and more values when you use a quarterly category card. Yes, you are going to be getting 5, which I do completely understand, but that is specifically towards a quarter. With the Capital One Duo, the Savor, you're actually going to be getting 3x on groceries unlimited, and you don't have to worry about the quarterly category, which I think is very useful because you're not having to think about another card that possibly you're going to be needing to use. So for me, based on my experience, I think it's great. The points system is great. You honestly get instant rewards, so that's also cool, because with other credit card issuers, for me, in my experience with the Chase Trifecta, you have to wait till the next billing cycle for it to actually go through as your points as you redeem. So that's another plus for the Capital One. You'll instantly get it once it's processed through, and it tells you exactly how much each one was worth. Very forward, and that's what I like about Capital One. They're very visual oriented. So I do like that, because you want to know, okay, what am I spending, and how does it look like, or what's the points values of everything. It tells you right then and there. It's very visual. I like it, and it makes it very easy to actually figure out how much points I'm getting. And for me, yes, the Chase ecosystem is great too. You can actually find it, but there's so many clicks and options you got to go through to figure out where are my points. I give another up to Capital One for making it that easy. And for everything else, like for example, if I use gas, light bill, water, anything that's not a food related category, I just go ahead and use Adventure X and get 2X. Just think about it that way. I mean, if you're barely getting into the credit card space and you want to get into the traveling space, definitely this is a card setup that I'll probably recommend to any of my friends or family because it's easy. You're not having to worry about all these other quarterly categories. And also I did recommend one of my friends to get the Capital One Savor, and he thinks it's like a great card. And he's not even to the travel space. So he's just using it just to collect cash back, which is nothing wrong with that if you want to go that route. But this video was mainly for the people who want to travel based off the Capital One Duo, based off my personal experience. And since me and my wife are going to be traveling a lot more, it is a great card. And as always, let's try to make things simple, and I'll see you on the next one.